If you're tired of financial advice that sounds like bedtime stories, and you want the real deal on how money actually grows, you're in the right place. We turn confusing finance talk into smart, simple, and sometimes hilarious videos you'll actually remember. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's grow your wallet without boring you to death. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Start investing early, let compounding do its magic, and you'll retire sipping coconut water on a beach by age 40. But here's the thing. Compounding is magical, just not in the way most people think. It's not a genie that turns pennies into gold bars. And no, your $5 a week savings won't make you a millionaire by next Tuesday. So let's talk about why this financial fairy tale might need a rewrite. Imagine you put away $20 a month. That's $240 a year. Now let's assume a very generous return of 10% annually. After 30 years, you'd have about $43,000. Sounds impressive, right? But here's a twist. After 3 decades, that wouldn't even buy you a modest car. Compounding didn't fail. The amount you started with was just too small to do anything spectacular. The hard truth is that compounding works like a snowball, but only if the snowball starts big enough. Roll a tiny snowball down a hill, and it might pick up speed, but it'll never turn into an avalanche. To make real gains, you either need more time than a turtle ass's lifespan, or more money than a birthday card from grandma. Most people have neither, and that's where the myth begins to crack. It's not that compounding is useless, it's just misunderstood. People are sold the dream, not the details. They're told to start with what you have, which is noble, but not always realistic if your wallet sounds like an empty tin can. A piggy bank with a few coins won't become a treasure chest just because you waited 40 years. At some point, the math has to match the ambition. And don't get me wrong, saving small amounts is better than saving nothing. It builds discipline, creates good habits, and keeps you in the financial game. But thinking those small amounts alone will fund your dream retirement? That's where the misunderstanding lies. Compounding is powerful, but it's not a miracle. It can multiply, sure, but it needs something real to multiply. The internet loves to show you examples like, if you invest just $5 a day, you'll have $1 million by age 65. What they do not mention is the part where you invest for 50 years without touching a dime and somehow get a 10% return every single year. That's like telling someone they can become a pro athlete if they just stretch every morning. It's technically not wrong, but very incomplete. And here's another curveball. Inflation. While your account slowly grows, the cost of living zooms past like a sports car. That $43,000 we mentioned earlier? In 30 years, it might buy you a nice couch and a decent sandwich. Compounding doesn't protect you from inflation. It just tries to outrun it. And with small amounts, it's barely jogging. So if you really want to see compounding in action, start big. Even $10,000 compounded at 8% yearly becomes over $100,000 in 30 years. That's real movement. But if you start with just $100, you're watching paint dry. You'll gain interest, yes, but not enough to change your life. Moral of the story: compounding isn't broken. It's just not built for tiny numbers and short timelines. It's like planting a seed. You still need sunlight, time, and good soil. And sometimes you need to plant more than one seed if you want a real harvest. Especially if you want to eat more than just financial breadcrumbs. Let's get something straight. If compounding interest is a magic trick, the magician needs a solid stage. And in this case, that stage is capital. The more you have, the more impressive the trick. Starting with a small sum is like asking a magician to pull a rabbit out of a thimble. Possible? Maybe. Impressive? Not really. The bigger the starting amount, the bigger the bang. Let's take two people. Jack starts with $10,000 and Jill starts with $100. Both invest at the same rate, let's say 8% annually, for 25 years. Jack ends up with almost $70,000. Jill? She ends up with a little under $700. The math isn't mean, it's just honest. Compounding reward size, not just effort. Now, that might sound discouraging, but it's actually empowering. Because once you understand the game, you stop playing it like a slot machine and start playing it like chess. Strategy beats wishful thinking every time. If you want compounding to work, treat saving like a business. Grow your capital first, then let compounding take over the heavy lifting. That's why the rich get richer. They're not just smarter, they're starting from a better place. When a millionaire earns 10%, they get $100,000. When the average person earns the same 10% on $1,000, it's barely enough for a fancy dinner. Same rules, wildly different outcomes. It's not unfair, it's just math wearing a suit. So what can you actually do? First, focus on building your launch money. Before worrying about interest rates and compound schedules, build a base that's actually worth compounding. Sell stuff, cut expenses, start a side hustle, whatever it takes to raise your seed capital. Then, and only then, compounding becomes your best friend instead of a slow-moving acquaintance. Second, stop believing that compounding works the same for everyone. It doesn't. It's like a gym membership. Someone already in shape will see faster results than someone just starting out. That doesn't mean don't go to the gym. It just means know what you are signing up for. Financial fitness takes time, but it takes resources too. Without them, you're jogging on a treadmill that doesn't move. Third, don't fall for the save your coffee money narrative unless you're also working on the big picture. Yes, buying fewer lattes helps, but it won't build wealth. You need more income, better investments, and long-term discipline. Lattes are not your financial enemy. Lack of vision is. And no amount of compound interest can fix a small mindset. Finally, be realistic. Compounding won't decade. Turn you into a millionaire overnight, or even in a decade, unless you're starting with a massive sum. And if you are, great. Just remember to keep your money working smarter, not harder. Compounding is a great employee, but it needs a good boss. You. You set the pace, you choose the amount, and you decide if it's even worth it. In the end, compounding is like a bicycle. The faster you pedal, the quicker you go. But if the tires are flat, meaning your starting sum is tiny, you all get tired before you get rich. Inflate those tires first. Grow your capital. Then let compound interest be the tailwind that pushes you toward your financial goals, instead of the only engine you're relying on. If you watched this video all the way to the end, that means you're serious about taking control of your money. And honestly, that already puts you ahead of the crowd. Now imagine what you could do with even more financial knowledge, served with a side of humor, straight to your feed every week. So don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's keep building your wealth the smart way. Because here, we don't just talk about money. We make it make sense. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.